Welcome back to the Forever Wild podcast, powered by Eagle Wing Tours, hosted on the traditional territories of the Lekwungen-speaking people of the Songhees and Kosapsim First Nations. You're back with Sam,
Molly,
and Tom.
And thank you to everyone who listened to and enjoyed the first episode. We hope you're back again and we haven't scared you off. We've been busy. We've been very busy. We've been having lots of trips. The season's ramping up and a few friendly faces popping back in.
Yeah, we're super duper lucky to get to see 3 humpbacks that have been known to return year after year. Split Fluke, Zigzag, and Gretzky have all been reported early in the season.
Yeah, it's quite early for humpbacks to come back. Having Split Fluke back is really nice as well. She had a calf last year, so she is probably starving.
Zigzag as well.
Yeah, Zigzag had a calf last year too.
And they both tend to have calves every 2 years. Split Fluke skipped 2023. She probably had one that didn't make it. So by that pattern, 2 pregnant ladies.
Yeah, it's crazy too that you were saying they're starving. You actually got a good photo of...
Yeah, you can see the ribs and everything.
Just starving when they come up here.
Yeah,
makes sense. Lots of feed though. We've been getting a lot of bait balls. We actually had a herring spawn off Fizgard Light too.
We did.
I think that's like the third one of the 2020s. And then what was that, like an 80-year gap before that?
Yeah, I think the first one was in 2022, and before then it had been 80 years.
That's crazy.
Wild.
Since the last one.
Cool.
So cool. It's awesome. Love to see them recovering.
Yeah. It's always exciting seeing the humpbacks return as well, like especially like this early. Yeah. I know like the last couple of years we've been getting some younger whales that come back. Like we had 2 juveniles that kind of stuck around this year. We didn't really see them consistently because, you know, baby humpbacks just kind of do their own thing. But having the big girls come back is pretty exciting.
Yeah. 2 big girls and 1 question
unknown.
mark.
Yeah, question mark. Who is Gretzky?
We don't actually know what sex Gretzky is.
Yeah.
But I suspect that it's a female, and that's why they're back early.
It makes sense.
Because if they were a male, why would they come back this early unless they were super low on reserves? Which is possible.
I would think he's a male. He's just following the ladies. He's like, hey, don't forget about me. I know we're coming up here to eat.
But he's leaving the party early down south.
Yeah, he's got his eyes set on the prize.
I don't know. I feel like I lean more with Molly on that one. Like early arrivals are probably females who are, pregnant and trying to get bigger. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, some of them that stay really late also tend to be females.
Yeah. Well, Divot stayed really late this year. We had her until January 14th was my last sighting, or the last sighting of her in the Salish Sea this year. And March 5th, I believe, she was in Hawaii with a baby.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's
cool.
been crazy. Shout out to PWWA,
the Pacific
Whale Watch Association. The association that we're with for whale watching. They've been kind of creating like a list of potential moms and calves. We used a website called Happy Whale. Talked about it last time. I love that website. Absolutely. Great for citizen science. And if you're a whale nerd like we are, I kind of just scroll through there and look at whales and see what's going on. But they have a list of 15 whales that potentially, so they're not really confirmed, but potentially have calves. So they were at least photographed with a calf in the area. But sometimes you do have that escort situation where maybe they weren't the ones that had the calf. But Divot was on the list, which makes sense, right? She stayed stupid late last year. And then we've got a bunch of other ones like Vertigo. I don't think has ever had a calf before. Valhalla, which is another interesting one. That's a really cool whale. Supernova's got another one. And there's a ton of other whales on here as well that have or potentially have calves. So a total of 15 so far that potentially will come back with a brand new baby.
Yeah. Amazing. And like the population was just over 1,200 that we see return to the Salish Sea, right?
Something like that,
That's
yeah.
wild.
But that's not always been the case.
No.
So I'm going to pause us here because before we get into the topic of today's episode, which is going to be a phenomenon that we like to call the humpback comeback, I think that for our listeners who may be coming to learn something new today, we should do a little bit of background on the species. So what is a humpback whale?
A humpback whale
is a whale.
They are a baleen whale. So for those of you who don't know, that's the structure that is inside their mouth, allowing them to filter feed. So baleen whales are going to feed on very, very small schooling fish, krill, plankton, again, depending on the species and depending on the location around the globe. Humpbacks actually separated as a species around 850,000 years ago. I just learned that fact, so Hopefully it's correct.
You've been doing your research.
Yeah. And baleen whales have 2 external nostrils on top of their head or rostrum. So that is the classification of a baleen whale. There are anywhere from 14 to 16 different species of baleen whale, depending on who you ask. Other than that, though, the humpbacks that are here, we're lucky enough to be able to not only photo catalog them, but when they are ID'd, going back into that app, the PWWA app, allows us to know that if an animal has successfully made its migration back up north or back down south.
And in terms of that migration, what is it? Why do they do it? Where are they going?
Yeah, they tend to, at least here in the Salish Sea, the ones that we see, they tend to go to Hawaii and Mexico are the 2 spots. Using Happy Whale, though, you can actually make the connections with some of these whales. Some of them actually have been spotted. Which one we were looking at earlier they went all the way up to the Gulf of Alaska to feed? Mensa. Yeah, Gulf of Alaska twice they've been spotted, and they go to both Hawaii and Mexico.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. So previous knowledge, we always kind of thought they would always they probably do favor one or the other. But it used to be like kind of like, oh no, they only go to Hawaii because mom took you to Hawaii, or you were born in Hawaii, or you only go to Mexico. But we do have a few that have actually gone to both Hawaii and Mexico. And I have a few on my list that have actually gone all the way down to Nicaragua.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That is wild.
Yeah,
and just for a distance reference, from BC to Hawaii, it's around 4,200 kilometers. And from BC to Mexico, it's around 2,500 kilometers.
And they're doing that twice a year, there and back.
Wild. Well, on a monthly fast.
Without a GPS.
Crazy.
I barely remember how to get to work.
Yeah.
And I make like one right turn.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you do know. I think your car just does it for you.
At this point, it probably does.
It's the brakes.
Yeah. So that behavior of where we see the whales coming and going from the same location every year, and typically the same place that they were born or where their mother took them, is a behavior we know as philopatric behavior, which sounds like a really big scientific term. Tom certainly is pulling a face right now, but it can be broken down pretty easily. It's a Greek word. Philo means loving or beloved, and patria means homeland. So it's literally just love of home. They come back every year, and we're always happy to see them.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know what that word meant.
Yeah.
I know you didn't. So if you're interested in learning a bit more about humpback whales, there's a few places you can go. We're not going to go too deep into this episode because we have some other things we want to talk about, but we can do another episode. In the meantime, I think that we have a few recommendations for places for information.
Yeah, I think Book Talk still exists, right? TikTok. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the books that I've read that was really great for whale evolution was Spying on Whales. Awesome book. I'm a terrible reader. Like, I don't really read, but I read like 2/3 of that book in one sitting. So if you're really interested in kind of learning about baleen or just whale evolution in general, Spying on Whales is a great resource.
I love that book.
That was such a good book.
It was such a good
I'll
book.
put it on the list.
Yeah, I can't believe you haven't read it yet.
I know.
Especially as like you're like just a general whale lover. Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't read that one
It's
yet.
even got a humpback on the cover.
I'm a picture book kind of guy.
Well, if
kinda
you're more
reads
into
like
images, go watch a documentary.
Yeah.
There's some amazing whale documentaries out there. I'm biased because I made one of them, but Whale with Steve Backshall, great show. There's also Secrets of the Whales, I think, on Disney.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, so any of those, great places to get your information.
Or you just be like me and scroll through Happy Whale and look at different flukes and stuff.
Yeah, try to memorize everyone. Like, who are you? I've seen you before.
I recognize that tail.
Yeah.
Being able to track these whales is a really important part of the research that we do into them because it allows us to monitor the populations, and the populations haven't always been doing that well. Historically, these whales were hunted, even around Vancouver Island. The first whaling station here opened in 1905, but the last one didn't close until 1967. And there were, at their peak, actually 5 of them open. We don't have all of the records, but the Coast Salish nations tell stories of being able to walk to Washington State on the backs of humpback whales. And we know that between 1908 and 1967, over 24,000 whales were caught. Not just humpbacks, but still.
A few weeks ago, I was listening to the State of the Pacific Ocean, and they were doing a presentation on humpbacks. And the one, I believe it was off Nanaimo, Piper's Lagoon. In 1907 to 1908, the last hunt they did, they took over 100 whales from November to February.
Wow.
Right? So which was really the timeline, like not the number of whales was interesting. Like I figured they took a lot, but It was the timing, because usually we think of winter as like, you know, these whales are leaving.
Yeah.
But from November to February, it was over 100 individuals they took.
And that's more than all of the humpbacks that we saw this winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
Easily,
you know,
in that time.
maybe humpbacks in the winter in the Salish Sea is not abnormal, but we just haven't returned to normal yet.
And I know documentation wasn't what it is now, like recording, okay, female or male, health state, so
pregnancy.
That's a big one. That's a really big one.
Yeah, and it would be devastating too. I mean, with what we're thinking, right, with females staying later, right, you look at divot, dragon's another one that tends to stay late. We had a couple other females too that stayed super late, but it's like those 100 whales strike. Those 100 whales, if this proves to be correct, were probably females. Which is wild. Not good, especially after learning, you know, they teach their calves where they go, what home is, where they go to migrate. By taking that out, you're taking the whole story of the Salish Sea out.
And the story of the Salish Sea is something that we love to tell on our tours, especially whenever we see a humpback. It's something that really resonates with a lot of us, because being able to see these animals is such a privilege when you're out on the water for a very, very, very long time. I want to say about 70 years, maybe more.
I think roughly 70.
Yeah. There were no humpback whales in the Salish Sea here. And the Coast Salish people, they tell stories. The Coast Salish people, they tell stories of being able to walk to Washington State on the backs of humpback whales. But we know from these whaling records that we have that by the early to mid 1900s, their numbers here had basically collapsed. There were a few occasional stragglers that came in, but certainly no one that stuck around. So in 1997, when one humpback whale showed up down by Race Rocks, which is a spot that we love to go to on our trips, lots of wildlife there, everyone thought, if you'll pardon the pun, that it was just a fluke. Why would this humpback whale be here? Her mother can't possibly have taught her to come here. There's no reason for her to be here. I'm not even sure if we really knew that there was a lot of food for them here at that point. I'm not sure how well studied it was, but it was a strange sight. And because of that, it was essentially assumed that she'd never come back, right? Until 1998, when she popped up again. And everyone was like, oh, okay, maybe this whale is going to hang around. In 2003 was when this whale really started making headlines, though, because not only was she coming back again, but she was also bringing back the first known calf to the Salish Sea. Huge moment. Because not only was she finding enough food for herself and thinking that this was a good place to come every single year, but she was realizing that this was a perfect place to bring your baby. She wanted to find all that food. She wanted to make sure this baby grew big and strong. And that baby, by the way, was Divot, who was here in January and now has another calf way down south in Hawaii. We're hopeful to see them again soon. So with this whale coming back again in 2003 with a baby, they named her Big Mama. I don't actually know what her code is.
BCY0324.
BCY0324. Big Mama's a bit catchier.
Yeah, it is. It's easier. It's easy to remember.
Just a little bit. And they named her that because, like I say, the first mother to bring back a baby to the Salish Sea. But boy, has she lived up to it.
Absolutely.
What number baby did she bring back last year?
Last year, she brought back her 8th calf, and I was the first one to report it.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Shout out Tom and Joe.
And what did you want to name it?
Stutzy. And I don't think it's going to be named Stutzy, but it's okay.
No, I think Big Mama's babies are a bit too famous to be named after naturalists, I'm afraid.
It's okay. I didn't know it was Big Mama until I sent a picture to Joe, and he's like, yeah, she's got the wart on the right side of her dorsal. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, but to be fair, Joe recognizes every single whale from 2 miles away and somehow knows who it is.
So I asked Joe once, for reference listeners, Joe's one of our captains and our fleet manager, and also does a bunch of research and stuff, which he's probably going to listen to this and be like, how reductive. But
don't grow his ego.
But I asked him once how many humpback whales he could recognize by sight. He said 400.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I believe that. Actually, that's really low.
Yeah.
I would think. I honestly think it'd be more. I honestly think it'd be more. But he's insane. Especially dorsals. Like, I think we're starting to learn more about humpback IDs because it used to always be underside of the tail because, you know, massive, different colorations, all black, all white, teeth marks, entanglement scars. But now we've really, in the last couple of years, really beefed up the dorsal fin IDs because they're generally the same size on all whales.
Yeah. And the more we can do that, the better, because when they're down south, often they're not fluking as much because they're not having to do these big dives to feed. So if we're able to ID them from their dorsals more, we're going to have a better idea of what their populations are doing, who's going where, who's feeding on what.
Well, it's really important too for calves, because calves don't usually lift their tails.
No.
Right. So usually it's really difficult to get the underside of a tail within the first year. So dorsals are really important. Good example is like if you look back at, I think we were talking about how split fluke's missing a calf, or like some of their calves haven't been seen in a few years. So it's like, oh my God, it's dead. It's like, well, not necessarily, right? Because maybe we didn't get the underside of the fluke. It could be one of the whales that, you know, maybe was first spotted a year later.
Yeah.
You don't know. Or you look at Divott's calf, windsock. There was a 7-year gap from the time it was a calf till they realized that it was windsock. I think it was 2014 to 2022. Joe took a photo of the dorsal, and it's like that dorsal fin matches.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, it's missing. It's probably dead. It's like, nope, we weren't cataloging dorsals properly.
Even the behavior, like the surfacing behavior we're seeing now, like we're not always seeing flukes.
No.
Like,
And, you know, we're seeing adult humpback whales. We're just not seeing the tails because they're not doing those big, deep dives.
yeah.
And it's important to keep them updated too. Like Split Fluke, who's 20, we'll get into that, why Split Fluke's really cool. Her dorsal is totally different now. If you look at the 2024 catalog published by Humpback Whales of the Salish Sea, it doesn't match anymore. She's got 2 new white marks on her right side.
No. So up-to-date catalogs, also important. But when Big Mama did come back and started this trend of humpback whales coming back to the Salish Sea, and arguably started the catalogue, she didn't just come back with baby Divot, but she also brought back a friend. And that friend was a whale known as Heather. Heather came back in 2006 with a baby, and that baby was Split Fluke. So we've come quite nice full circle. Our humpback catalogue has continued to grow every single year since then. Not just with babies, but with new whales coming in. Maybe they're hearing them through the waters. Maybe they're following them in as friends. Maybe Big Mama and Heather are just really big gossips. They like to tell all their pals. I don't know.
I think that's the...
Makes sense.
Yeah. But our humpback whale catalogue has grown and grown and grown exponentially, and it now contains how many whales?
I think 1,100
Yeah.
or just under 1,200.
Just under
Yeah.
1,200, which is absolutely crazy.
A huge, huge increase. So that is going from 0 whales in 1996 to nearly 1,200 in 2026. That's within my lifetime. It's within Tom's lifetime. It's nearly within Sam's.
Yeah.
Hey.
I always think it's cool though, because like you have a lot of the, like Rod's been doing this for 35 years.
Yeah.
You've got Joanne, who's another one of our crew members who loves humpbacks now, who's been doing it probably almost as long.
Just as long.
Just as long. Brett, who owns Eagle Wing, you know, like these guys were all watching Southern Residents for years, and like you wouldn't even think about seeing a humpback.
Yeah.
No, and nowadays the southern resident killer whales are so endangered, you wouldn't think about seeing them.
No.
Yeah. Like when I started, it was no, like there was nothing like that. It was humpbacks and then bigs.
Yeah, and that's it. But even now, like finding a humpback in July is like you're looking out of the harbor, and it's like, I got you. Like
I got 4.
Yeah, I got 4 whales 6 miles away. We'll go check them out after. But it's crazy how it's just totally changed for everyone, and like a lot of the people who've been in this industry for so long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just here. The humpback comeback is global.
Yeah.
When we were hunting them, we think their numbers got down to only a few thousand, and now it's likely there's well over 100,000, possibly even 150,000 of these animals worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found a book actually at an old like book sale, and I think the number that this book said, it was from Government of Canada. It was like 600 on the Pacific and about 2,100 on the Atlantic, and that was
That's
it.
wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then I've got this poster. I got to bring this poster in. I know you'll like it, Sam. My wife found it on the side of the road, and it's another Government of Canada poster, and it's all the marine mammals of British Columbia, and it's got like, you know, the residents, it's got the dolphins, all the porpoise, and it gives like a little blurb about all of them. And then for the humpback, it says there are a few that pass by British Columbia in the summer.
Wow.
So just
That's
pass
crazy.
by.
That is crazy.
The key word was pass by, and this
by.
was like the illustration was drawn in like 1995, so I imagine the poster was probably like 1996.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like totally changed, where now it's like finding a humpback's not that difficult.
No, not at all. And we never got a confirmed breeding ground for Heather.
No.
But going back to that philopatric behavior, that returning to the same place every year, it's safe to assume that she was a Mexican whale.
Yeah.
Her calves go there, split fluke goes there, split fluke's calves go there. It's a pattern. Divot and Big Mama and all of the other whales that have come from there all go to Hawaii. They probably met on the way back.
Did a little journey together.
Did a little journey together.
I know a good place to go eat.
Yeah.
Well, I always wonder where they meet, because I know one of Heather's calves the one that goes to Mexico made a pit stop in California. I think it was 2 years ago, according to Happy Whale. So I imagine, like, for them, you know, going up the coast would make the most sense. But do the Hawaii whales cut across to California, because California is a great feeding spot, and then make their way up the coast, or do they just go
just a straight
shot, hang out at Swiftsure Bank for a bit, and then come in?
Yeah, Neo-Wise was that calf.
That was it.
That's
yeah. Decided to hang out in California. And humpbacks, they're a weird animal, because most migratory animals, it's a wider route that they follow, but humpbacks are very, very specific. So even though they're a species that's found globally, you're never going to find a humpback from Australia in the Salish Sea.
No. Yeah.
They don't cross the equator.
No.
And if they do, it's incredibly rare. We know they do because we've seen it from the genetic evidence, and we know they do change different breeding grounds because we've seen it from the Happy Whale reports.
Yeah.
But the humpbacks that are in, Norway feeding, they're going to be going to North Africa and the Caribbean, passing by the UK.
Yeah.
We're getting more and more humpbacks around the UK nowadays. So the more we learn about these animals, the more we kind of see that their behavior is not necessarily set in stone, but certainly that they are creatures of habit.
Yeah, absolutely. Even feeding behaviors, it's so different. Like up in Alaska, you see the bubble net feeding, and even like trap feeding. That's so cool. Around here, we see a lot of lunge feeding and flick feeding. But yeah, just the diverse habits that these animals have. On our east coast of Australia, there's around 40,000 migratory humpbacks that return to that coast year after year. And I can only imagine the behaviors that they see there.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get to go and have a look.
Hopefully.
We could do a podcast in Australia.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
I'd be down.
Get a good old sunburn.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta learn somehow.
Yeah. We could do it in Hawaii. Go see some of our friends down there.
I'd be down.
But going back to our early returners, Split Fluke and Zigzag, both females.
Yes.
Both have had 4 calves each. Both had calves last year and every 2 years before that.
Okay.
Except, as we know, 2023 for Split Fluke, but maybe she had one. Maybe it didn't make it. As you say, Windsock was missing for 7 years. And actually, Heather, Split Fluke's mom, has been missing for 6.
Yeah, BCY0160 is Heather's ID.
So maybe she'll pop up again one day. You never know.
See, they could just switch routes. Like sometimes they might be like, I'm not going to BC. I'm going up to Alaska.
Yeah. Well, that's how we get them, isn't it? When we see new adult humpback whales coming in, it's like, okay, yeah, you just couldn't be bothered to go all the way.
Yeah. I didn't make that right turn.
Yeah, I had one 2 years ago, because we get humpback land, which is sweet. We'll have to talk one day about our best humpback land encounters. But I had one, I think it was 2 years ago, that never was documented in BC.
Wow.
Didn't have a BC ID, and it was it was a big whale, but just never here. But Swiftsure Bank is just such a special spot that I wonder sometimes if the food kind of flows in, and then the whales just kind of follow and end up kind of coming into the Salish Sea.
That perfect little corridor for everything to flow in, and the whales just follow behind.
So that's Split Fluke and Zigzag. And then Gretzky, Hawaii whale, unknown sex, first sighted in 2017. If they are a female, now's a pretty good time.
Beautiful
9 years old.
Beautiful white pectoral fins on them too. Him or her, sorry.
Him or her.
And if you're wondering what white pectoral fins are, usually just the underside of the pectoral fin, so the side fin of the whale is white. But about 20% of the humpbacks that visit the Salish Sea have both top and bottom white, and it's so cool when you see them glide in the water, because it's just it's like almost like light blue.
Yeah, it's like a turquoise color. It's so beautiful. And
I love that.
Gretzky's ID number is BCX1800.
You can go onto happywhale.com and you can type in any of these names or any of these ID numbers, and you can follow these animals, and you'll get an email every time that they're sighted.
Like Facebook friends of the
whales,
but without the school reunion.
Yeah.
So you can, I do it for some of my favorite whales. I know we also upload a lot of the pictures we take on there as well. So if you're taking pictures of these animals, maybe you go whale watching down in Australia, in Hawaii, in Costa Rica, you get some nice pictures of the flukes of humpback whales, put them on Happy Whale. The system will ID them for you.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty good. And I find it really helpful. And I've noticed that this year in particular, we've been getting a lot of the whales that have been crisscrossing between Hawaii and Mexico And I think it's because happy whale is probably getting more popular down in those areas. I know we use it very heavily here. Alaska uses quite a bit. California is really heavy on it. Yeah. And I think some like the southern areas, or at least the southern companies, you know, at Hawaii and Mexico don't necessarily lean into it.
No, like when I was in Hawaii 2 Februaries ago with a couple of the other naturalists here, and we were kind of shocked. They just had no ID guides. I know we're very lucky to have a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was crazy. They're like, yep, just a humpback. We're like, but who is this humpback?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
Tell me their story.
Yeah, tell me their story. I really want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too because it's not hard. Like the ID, obviously making an ID guide is very hard and difficult and takes forever, but using Happy Whale does not take very long, and it provides so much useful information about a population. Like literally, like, you know, we go back before and we were talking about how 58% of humpbacks go to Mexico, but it was like we never had a breeding match on or breeding ground match on Heather, but we knew Big Mama went to Hawaii, so it's like, well, how did the whales from Mexico know to come here? And it's like, well, turns out Heather goes to Mexico, so they met up, and just being able to match her calves to Mexico, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense that we have this mix, that not all of them are from Hawaii, because immediately within a few years we were having this intermingling between the Hawaii and the Mexico whales, so it really is helpful down there. But I'm surprised a lot of those companies don't lean into it because it's so easy, it's non-invasive, and researchers don't have the funds to just go out and like they don't have the money for gas to just go, hey, I'm gonna go look for whales today and take pictures of them.
And hope for the best.
I hope for the best.
Well, what I did see though was that there was recently a study using drones to identify humpback whales by looking at the patterns of their tubercles, which are these tiny little lumps they have all over their faces that essentially act as whiskers. So maybe, because I did mention that one of the reasons why we maybe don't have so much data from down around the breeding grounds is because they're not fluking as much. Maybe if we're able to utilize these drones, if researchers down there are able to start gathering data in that way, that might help.
Yeah, I know drones are being used to determine like the health of whales as well.
Yeah,
like
shout out to the Snotbot team.
Yeah, which is so cool to do. I got to do a little bit of that in Japan, but it's really cool. But my coolest thing I always think is when we pull up our catalogs on the boats during a trip and the passenger's reaction to saying, yeah, these are all of the photos that are taken of these whales in this area, and they're like, oh my gosh, like there's so much to go through, and how many of them look similar, especially the BCX whales. Like it's so hard. So that's mostly a black fluke, or if not all black. So what we're really looking for is scrapes, scars, marks. So
maybe the occasional little white spot.
It really, I don't know. I think it's a big shout out to like a lot of the Pacific Whale Watch Association companies, because pretty much everyone provides the data to Happy Whale or to the humpback whales or the Salish Sea. They're providing data in some capacity for researchers to be able to study these whales, which is awesome. And I think it's just such an easy thing you can do as whale watchers to really lean into kind of the research sector. And you know, the scientists are doing the things they need to do, but we're collecting all that kind of data for them.
Any piece of information is useful, no matter what, where you are, who you're seeing, what they're doing, the activity. It's
all puzzle pieces, isn't it? You can't make the picture without all the pieces.
That is true.
Sometimes you lose a piece down the end of the sofa, and maybe that piece is somewhere in Hawaii. I don't know.
And the photos are just, you know, something that's easy to do every day, but you know, I know here we really lean into it pretty heavily. Like we're doing humpback fecal sampling.
We
for a fancy way of saying
You're
it.
stuck with me, Molly.
I know, we're on humpback poop patrol.
Have you guys picked up poop before?
I've done it for 4 samples, I believe.
Not for a whale.
Not for a whale.
No.
Okay, we're not gonna dive.
I have a dog.
Dive into that.
There is a dog back home. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to figuring it out.
Honestly, it is gross. I will agree, but the reward you get at the end, especially with what could come out of it, like the health of the animal, what it's eating, it could even determine like the gender of the animal if we don't know. Like say for Gretzky, if we got a fecal sample, be like, oh hey, it has high levels of testosterone or low levels of whatever. That's, to me, that is the coolest part.
Yeah, we provide a lot of the fecal sampling whenever we can get it. It is really difficult. For some reason, humpbacks poop on the surface, but it also dissipates really quick. Yes.
I know why they poop on the surface.
Why do they poop on the surface?
Because the pressure is too great underwater to clear the pipes.
Oh, God.
So they... Quite frankly...
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, we provide a lot of this to Rhonda Reedy's the researcher who we provide a lot of this to, and we've been doing it for a few years for sure. And she released a paper on it. I know we collected one from Blizzard a couple years ago, which was super lucky. Yeah, but yeah, it is disgusting.
I think of the 10 samples that she has frozen right now, 9 of them are from Eagle Wing, which is so incredible. We have such a good team.
Yeah. And all of them are red.
Yeah. Terracotta color.
Terracotta. Krill colored.
Krill, yeah, aka krill.
Yeah. The more we get, though, the better it is, right? Because like especially early season, like you don't see what they're eating because they're feeding so deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But later in like September, October, when they're feeding on bait balls, kind of obvious what they're feeding on because we can see it flying out of their mouth.
That's the herring.
Yeah. It's even crazy to like when I came out here and started my whale watch career and found out that they might eat juvenile squid and salmon. Like that to me kind of blew my mind. Yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, what?
Yeah. And then I heard they occasionally get birds, but they don't actually digest them.
Yes.
Like they just kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe a seal or two, right, Tom?
Might go in their mouth every once in a while.
Yeah. They'll spit a seal out, but I don't know how true this is. This may have been an April Fool's prank last year, but someone told me that they can swallow birds and then they just kind of like congeal and poop them out as like these feathery bony messes, almost like an owl pellet.
Yeah.
I guess if imagine those juvenile common mirrors can probably fit down their throat
easily.
For people who don't know, for some reason we use this as the measuring tool. It's a large grapefruit is how wide their throats are. So anything that fits down there will go down. But I feel like I've definitely seen them catch birds, but then they almost come up like a magic trick and just open their mouth and the birds just fly out all disgruntled.
Yeah.
I've seen birds go down. I've seen gulls go down.
I've seen them floating after getting hit.
Yeah.
But I reckon if you took a seagull and it went down head first, that would fit.
I don't know.
Large grapefruit. I think it would.
I just
They're
think about
mostly
the amount of forage fish that go down at a time. Like, yeah, the throat's the size of our fist, but they're getting everything down.
I guess it would be like collateral damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6,000 pounds of food a day, is it not?
Wild.
Those birds, you figure they learn by now.
Yeah.
Like move out of the way.
Yeah,
but
you see that big thing under the water? Yeah, get out of town. Like,
I always compare humpback feeding to the Hungry Hippos game. You know, when they're like, that's what's going on.
No, it is
they're
true.
like, they're going to grab anything and everything they can. They're going to get as much as they possibly can, and everything else.
It's amazing how clueless the animals are, though. It's like when I had the seal get into Zillion's mouth, like that seal was literally floating in the bait ball, like it was just like having the time of its life, floating in the buffet, like it's probably getting massaged by all the fish. And you don't sense a 50-foot whale is coming at you with its mouth wide open.
The thing that blows my mind is how you can have, especially up in Alaska when you see a lot of like bubble net feeding, how you can have 5 or 6 50-foot animals coordinate perfectly, coming at the surface, mouths wide open. Done.
I wish we got bubble net feeding here.
I've seen them like or a couple of them do it like by themselves, like blow bubbles in a circle, but like it's not
the same.
It's definitely not the same.
I have seen it in Alaska, and
it looks pretty sweet.
It's so cool.
But I mean, one day we might get it though, right? Because it's a few years ago we weren't seeing it at all, and then now we have these few individuals that come in and do it.
30 years ago, we didn't have humpback, so
exactly behavior spreads.
Yeah, or like the trap feeding, or what I think was trap feeding that I had from Vega.
Yeah,
who has been seen in Alaska as well. So it'd be cool.
Vega's such a funny whale.
Yeah,
that is, he is a funny whale. He lunge feeds. I think it is a confirmed male.
Yeah.
But he lunge feeds so aggressively compared to like all the other whales. Like when he flies out, it's like you can like hear like the close of his mouth. It's like, oh my god.
I've seen him basically doing yoga. Like I've seen him rostrum and tail out of the water.
I think I have a picture of him from last year doing that on the west side of Race, and I was like, he's like literally doing the worm.
I saw it in Beecher Bay.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
He's stretching. He's getting ready for the all-you-can-eat buffet.
I think he's rolling around in some kelp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just giving himself a nice little massage.
Were you guys around last year when Scuttle was like destroying kelp beds?
Yes.
No.
It was like 3 days of just like, it was so aggressive, like kelp, the most aggressive kelping I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know. It was almost like he was mad at the kelp though, because usually like when humpbacks will kelp will dislodge from the ocean floor and kind of float, and the currents kind of all make it gather together, and the whales will kind of, it's almost like a spa day. You know, you're just draping the kelp over your body, scratching your back, whatever. But he's going through it and he's like smashing it, crashing it, breaking it apart, and then once that kelp bed dispersed, he'd go find another one. And he would just go right to it and just destroy that one. He did that for like 3 days.
I can't wait for Scuttle to come back.
Me too.
Scuttle's a fun whale.
Viewing him on Goldwing is the best.
Oh, I'll get trained on gull wing soon.
Yes.
Yeah, not if I have anything to say about
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
my
Did
boat.
you hear that, Carol?
Brett, if you are listening.
So yeah, Scuttle hopefully back soon. Many hundreds of other humpbacks hopefully back soon, and a very warm welcome back to Gretzky, Zigzag, and Split Fluke. I certainly hope that they're finding lots of food.
I see. It looks like they definitely
I
are.
was gonna
Gretzky's
say.
been. They've all kind of dispersed now, but Gretzky's been off Discovery Island, like feeding it amongst the bait balls.
Yeah.
Split Fluke was on a mission, but probably just after she split up from Zigzag. But
Well, you know, they're busy. They're growing babies. They're growing one-ton
Absolutely.
babies. They're
Yeah.
women on a mission, maybe, for Gretzky.
Yeah.
And I hope that we get to see them back next year carrying on their legacies, just like Big Mama intended.
Absolutely.
And Heather.
Yes, and Heather.
So yeah, we look forward to welcoming back all the other humpbacks, including the newborns. How many calves are we up to?
potentially 15.
Potentially 15.
Potentially 15. Some of them are North Coast humpbacks, but yeah,
Okay.
it looks like it's about 15 on there.
And do we know how many were counted last year that were returned?
21, I think.
21.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a
So-
lot of babies.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of babies. And that's just the 15 that we know of.
Yeah.
Again, it was also the 21 that we knew of.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll have a humpback calf watch going as we progress through the season. We'll
It's
keep
always
you
the exciting
updated.
part, right? Like
Oh.
this list that we have is nice. Happy Wheel is a great resource for this, but it's like, of course, it is not confirmed until they come back, or if they're photographed multiple times. But it's just a nice way to expect, like when Divot comes back, I'm expecting her now to have a little one beside her, but
Yeah.
sometimes they do pop up without them because the killer whales kind of create a little bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
And among other things, you know, there's a lot of challenges for a newborn baby whale who's swimming 4,000 kilometers.
Wait for me.
So yeah, with that, I think, unless there's anything else you guys want to
I
add.
think that was awesome.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on the socials, Instagram and TikTok. We are at Forever Wild Podcast. That's with the number 4. We will be happy to take any questions, requests, or queries that you have. Just send us a DM. You can also email us podcast@eaglewingtours.com. And hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you'd like to come experience the Salish Sea for yourself, Eagle Wing Tours is going to be your best place to do so. We're based out of Victoria, British Columbia, at Fisherman's Wharf. We've been number 1 on TripAdvisor since 2007, and we'd like to show you why. So feel free to come on down, visit our website, eaglewingtours.com. You can book online, or if you have some questions, feel free to stop by the office, and we'd be happy to help you out there. But yeah, thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode.